Welcome to this explainer of fatal secrets of the Shadow Alpha. We're jumping right into a wildly fascinating story today that smashes together two genres you wouldn't necessarily expect to see in the same room: high-stakes corporate espionage and a seriously intense, slow-burn romance. We're going to look at exactly how these two elements perfectly fuel each other, turning a massive global security plot into a deeply personal, intimate journey. So let's just dive right in.
The moment our lips met, everything became dangerous. We're kicking things off with this chilling tagline because honestly, it hits the nail right on the head. This isn't just a dramatic hook to grab your attention, it's literally the core thesis of the whole story. It establishes right out of the gate that physical danger and emotional vulnerability are totally tied together. For our main characters, letting their guard down romantically isn't just risky, it's a literal matter of life and death.
Section 1. A dangerous meet-cute.
Okay, let's set the stage and introduce the two guys at the center of this storm. Literally. On one side, we have Ethan Vale. He's cold, wealthy, and a classic alpha. Think dominant, powerful, and swathed in all these shadowy underworld rumors. And on the total opposite end of the spectrum, Noah Carter. He's an ordinary, hardworking Omega with this really warm personality, just trying to survive juggling two jobs to take care of his little sister. If you aren't super familiar with this genre, alphas usually sit right at the top of the food chain, fiercely protective and commanding, while omegas are traditionally portrayed as more nurturing and vulnerable. It's the ultimate opposites attract setup, pitting Noah's everyday grind against Ethan's incredibly lethal reality.
Now, let's map out how fast things go off the rails. The pacing here is absolutely breakneck. It all kicks off with a simple, totally relatable mistake, leaving a research file behind on a stormy Friday night. Noah heads back to the empty library and accidentally overhears Ethan talking to a Professor Lang. He steps on a loose piece of paper and boom, the tension shatters. Attackers in head-to-toe black come crashing through the library glass. Ethan just grabs Noah and yells at him to run. They burst out into the pouring rain, the power cuts out, and as they scramble for Ethan's motorcycle, an attacker lunges. Ethan takes a knife slice right to the shoulder to protect Noah, a guy he literally just met. In a matter of minutes, the author masterfully takes us from a quiet study session to a violent, bloody escape.
Section 2. The Safe House Separation. So this wild escape forces our duo off the grid into a hidden safe house. And this is where the external danger suddenly forces this intense internal vulnerability. They're locked in this quiet apartment, the storm is absolutely raging outside, and Noah is patching up Ethan's bleeding shoulder with a tiny first aid kit. It gives us this incredibly intimate moment. Ethan notices Noah's fingers trembling, and Noah spots a tiny scar on Ethan's jaw. Ethan actually smiles, like a real warm laugh that completely shatters that icy alpha exterior we just talked about. They're connecting in this fragile little bubble of safety, right up until the exact second they hear it, 3 slow knocks on the door.
And just like that, the pacing explodes all over again. Attackers breach the safe house. Ethan instantly draws a black handgun and cuts the lights. As the front door is actively being kicked in, Ethan makes a massive sacrificial choice. He shoves Noah down a hidden underground tunnel, one his grandfather actually built, and tells him to run. Noah, of course, refuses to leave him, but Ethan pulls him close and promises, "I'll find you." Ethan stays behind in the pitch black to fight them off, making sure Noah can escape into the rainy night alone, with nothing but the terrifying sound of gunshots echoing right above him.
Fast forward through a grueling weekend. Noah has been dealing with terrifying silence, wandering empty streets, and lying to his sister Lily about why his clothes are covered in blood. He finally drags himself back to school, totally exhausted and desperate for answers. He walks into class, and Ethan's seat is empty. But then, right in the middle of a lecture, a folded note lands on Noah's desk. It reads, "Don't ask about Ethan unless you want to disappear too." Talk about a chilling realization. Noah suddenly understands that the danger didn't stay in that safe house. It followed him straight into his everyday life.
Section 3. The Vale Network Conspiracy. This brings us to a massively crucial reunion, where the curtain finally gets pulled back on the true stakes. While Noah is frantically searching the campus, this mysterious older man in a luxury sedan approaches him and basically whisks him away to this sprawling, heavily guarded private estate. Noah bursts into a bedroom to find Ethan badly beaten and bruised. And here's the kicker. Despite being severely injured, Ethan absolutely refused to let the doctors treat him until he knew Noah was safely by his side. It's this deeply emotional moment where Noah practically throws himself at Ethan, and Ethan just carefully, protectively holds him back.
Now, understanding this next part is absolutely vital for the stakes of our story. We're introduced to our MacGuffin, the big prize driving all this chaos. we find out that Ethan's family are the protectors of something called the Veil Network. These villains aren't just trying to steal a vault full of cash, they are after world-altering access keys. To put that in perspective, if this system falls into the wrong hands, it would allow someone to blackmail countless innocent people and control government contracts worth literal billions. It's a total game changer.
So who is the mastermind behind this massive conspiracy? It's none other than Professor Lang. Yes, the exact same guy Noah overheard in the library on night 1. The author brilliantly turns a trusted academic figure into a ruthless corporate spy. Lang used to be an advisor to Ethan's grandfather, and his motive is pure absolute power. But his tactic, well, this is what cements this as a romance story. Lang realizes that Noah is Ethan's ultimate weak point. The bad guys figured out real quick that Ethan will risk absolutely everything, including his own life, to keep the Omega safe.
Section 4. The Mansion Siege. Well, the peace at the estate, yeah, it lasts less than 24 hours. 30. That is the number of masked attackers, led directly by Professor Lang himself, that suddenly descend on the Vale estate just after sunset. It's pure chaos. Alarms are blaring, red emergency lights are flashing everywhere, and gunfire erupts as windows shatter and the estate's bodyguards clash with the intruders right in the Grand Hall.
As the mansion literally turns into a war zone, Ethan hands Noah a protective vest and gives him a strict order: stay hidden upstairs while Ethan leads a frontal assault against Lang. But, and I absolutely love this, Noah isn't just some passive trope waiting around to be rescued. He proves his own courage. He spots a second group of attackers totally bypassing the main fight. Noah realizes Lang's distraction tactic. They aren't after Ethan at all. They're making a beeline for the security control room to steal the network. Noah actually sprints down there to defend it himself. He grabs a heavy fire extinguisher and just smashes a hacker with every ounce of strength he has. And just as a second attacker raises a weapon at Noah, Ethan comes out of nowhere and tackles the guy, saving Noah right at the absolute wire.
Section 5. A Dangerous Romance.
With the battle finally won and Professor Lang in handcuffs, the story beautifully weaves right back to its emotional core. It neatly wraps up all that legal thriller stuff. Lang and his crew are sentenced, and the Vale family's global secrets are locked down tight once again. But more importantly, it sets up their new normal. Noah goes back to university, but now, a sleek black car is always waiting for him, and Ethan safely walks into his classes every single afternoon, totally pretending he isn't being wildly overprotective.
This moment brilliantly illustrates the heart of these characters. Think about it. Ethan, this fearless, shadowy alpha who literally takes down armed assassins without blinking and negotiates billion-dollar contracts, stops dead in the middle of a sunny college campus. All that playful, dangerous confidence just vanishes. He's completely disarmed, literally terrified by his own romantic feelings for an ordinary Omega.
But rather than letting Ethan stumble over his words, Noah just smiles and tells him to stop talking. Noah takes the lead with a confident, simple, "Just kiss me." This completely finalizes their slow burn transition. I mean, we've gone from terrified strangers sprinting through a dark, rainy library to devoted partners walking toward their future hand in hand right under the warm afternoon sun. It's the perfect wrap-up. We get this incredibly beautiful, satisfying conclusion, right? But if you look closely at the narrative structure, you really have to ask, is it actually over? Because during that emotional reunion back at the mansion, the text slyly mentions a shadowy observer watching them from down the hallway. And that brings us to this chilling final thought from an unseen enemy with icy blue eyes. They pull out a phone and declare that it's time for Phase 2. This totally guarantees that our hero's hard-won peace is just temporary. It completely reframes their happy ending, proving that in this shadowy world, love is the exact thing that puts a giant target on your back. So, what do you think Phase 2 actually entails? And how in the world will Ethan protect Noah when the next threat comes from inside his own walls?